Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 176 on April 1st, 2020, and just a warning, this entire show is fake. We pre-recorded it. We expected what you were... used psychics to figure out what you were going to ask us so that we could program the chat with a bot. And April Fools, you guys got fooled. We're not really live.
Right, and we pre-recorded this like January 1st of the year 2000.
I know. It's amazing.
So
I hope everybody's outside and catching lots of movies and enjoying the spring.
That would be so nice.
It's spring.
Being, thinking about the fact of April 1st and it being spring and the sun shining and going outside, meeting people, going out meeting friends.
I mean, think of all the picnics.
Like, the picnics would be great. Oh, man, I can't wait to go out to the theaters at that time. It's so great.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure that Mike is muted in the future.
Yeah. That's usually you go around and that's when I realize I'm muted.
Hey everybody, it is April 1st. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hello.
Michael Aston.
Hello everybody.
And Jimmy Trammell.
Hey guys, how's it going tonight?
It's going all right. How are you guys?
Apparently my brain's already dead. Totally fried.
Fried like the chicken I had for dinner.
Ooh, yum.
I gotta say, I've been all over the world. I have experienced so many things, but the single greatest thing that humans have ever created was fried chicken. I think I would venture to say that is the single greatest achievement of the human race.
Okay, I would argue that there's good fried chicken and there's okay fried chicken though.
Just fried chicken in general is the greatest gift that humanity has made to anything.
Okay.
I can appreciate where you're coming from. However, it is unquestionably pizza, not fried chicken.
Oh, the battle is on.
And that's why you have a place like Pizza Ranch that has amazing fried chicken and pizza buffet.
Because there you go. Combine the two best things ever made.
You both win. Excellent. Okay.
Well, hey, I can jump in that game too. When you talk about food or culinary cuisine, those two rank right up there. But in terms of drink, wine is the best drink that has ever been made by man.
Dr. Pepper. Sorry.
Fried chicken and Pepsi. And yes, Pepsi, I am still waiting for your call to officially endorse us. But
yeah, I'll remove the cozy if we can get our endorsements.
Dr. Pepper isn't a Pepsi.
See, I would be on board.
I know, but I'll still take endorsements.
I would be on
for
board.
Dr. Pepper.
I would have been on board with a Dr. Pepper endorsement a few years ago until they ran the real Dr. Pepper in Waco out of business.
Right.
And then they just kind of made me mad. But yeah. Should we get on to what we're actually here for before I piss off a giant corporation that could squash us like a bug?
Well, it's bound to happen. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Exactly.
Eventually, it will happen. Hey, let's talk news. Our computer robots bots have come up with this following news story for us for April 1st. Roku releases an OS enhancements. They've started rolling out Roku OS version 9.3, including performance enhancements, bug fixes, and a new voice interface, which with some additional functions like if you use it, you'll start getting visual responses back to your voice requests, and new language support for Spanish language. So this will be updated, be coming out over the next couple of months, and you'll start seeing it on your devices. Roku 9.3.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I'm not sure when it actually releases, so I don't know if I'm still under NDA, because I've been
Well, you
beta.
can talk about anything that's in the public
Well-
media release right here.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, as far as updates go, it's been pretty stable. I don't notice much difference, but you know, there are a few things that, you know, it feels like a good progression. It doesn't feel like a giant step forward, but we're still moving forward. There's still I give Roku, their team, a lot of credit because they are constantly asking, you know, what do you want? What are we not doing? What are we doing bad? Whereas a lot of companies, when they do betas, it's just, yeah, we don't care. Just tell us if this works, you know. But I say, good on you, Roku. I'm glad this is finally rolling out.
Excellent. We need more things like this. Roku seems like they roll things out kind of piecemeal and kind of slow. So, but it's not much more they really need at this point. They pretty much got everything you could ever want.
Oh, and I don't think I told you guys, because Mike and I ran into a couple of the Roku engineers at CES, which we talked about. They were the ones that were running the like demos and stuff. And a couple weeks later, I got an email from the guy that was leading the beta and said, "Hey, I hear you were at CES." And then, yeah, we had a conversation.
Oh, okay.
He was like, "I wish I could have been there." But, yeah, but he's not an engineer. He's just one of the project managers. But, it was funny.
Anchor's got a Kickstarter started for a 4K projector system, and it's been set up with a stretch goal where it was originally planned to be using the Android open source project version 9, but has now reached a goal where it will be coming out with the two versions that they're coming out with, which is, I believe, called Cosmos and the Cosmos Max, with a real, honest to goodness Google Android TV.
And that is good. At this point in the maturity of Android, the fact that you can't get the Google Play Store on AOSP, I think, is a hindrance. And it's
Can't
enough.
you sideload it?
But most people aren't going to want to. You know, and that's the problem. No, the store you can't. I don't think you can. That's the whole reason the Google Play Store isn't on the Fire TV, and nobody's been able to get it.
True.
You can sideload the apps, but you have to get the app and then sideload it into the, you know.
My only experiences from my various Android devices that I've rooted and put Android AOSP on. And with the Android tablets and phones, you actually can sideload the Google Store and thus get everything on them.
Okay,
it's a common practice thing.
Yeah,
it might be different for different devices,
but then again, the average consumer, which is their target, isn't gonna want to do that.
And nobody would be very interested in this device if it couldn't run your basic, Netflixes
and also, I mean, the Android TV OS is optimized for this kind of interface, whereas AOSP is not. AOSP is more a touch interface, which trying to have it on your wall projected seems problematic. unless you're going to heavily skin it, and I don't think Anchor wants to be that involved in, making a custom OS.
UI UX.
They're not Samsung. They don't want to go in and change every single pixel. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of these small like Pico projectors, and having Android TV, I think, is absolutely makes sense.
Very cool.
And the fidelity seems pretty cool as well. I mean, 4K. I mean, and the prices, for a device like that, the $1,700. But I mean, it's not so bad because a good quality 4K television would cost about the same.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing to remember is these projectors are fairly small, so to get the full fidelity, it's not going to be a full wall.
No.
You're going to be probably like a 32-inch, on your wall, but
You think it'd be that small?
I-
Maybe it could go a little bigger than that.
based on the other ones that I've seen up to this point, I
Mhm.
mean, you can go bigger, but you're not going to get the full 4K,
Right.
when you get
Right.
up to like 65 or 70
Sure.
inches. Then you're down into like the 1080 to 720.
You don't think you could get 60 inches and get 4K?
Not it. I don't think so. They're not powerful enough. These things are small.
Okay, gotcha.
But I mean, they're
I do
great.
think-
They're great because you can throw them in a suitcase, and you can use them anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Drew asks a pretty typical question that we get when we're talking about these devices. Do you really want these things combined? And I think this is one of those scenarios where having your Android functionality box built into the projector makes a lot of sense for really two reasons. From a portability and mobility perspective, these are smaller devices that can be taken, say, room to room or on a vacation or a
Mhm.
trip in the car or whatever, to like a day trip or something. Additionally, projectors often are set up in an environment where it's not necessarily convenient for you to hook up another box next to it, right? If I hook a projector up in the back of my room, I don't want to have a whole bunch of extra stuff running around. Now, if it's my own house and I'm not renting or something, then maybe it's not such a big deal to run dedicated HDMI cables 30 or 40 feet to get to a place where I have my box set up. But the more cables you have to run, the bigger a mess it starts to
But
get.
then again, if it's in your house and you're probably going to go with a dedicated projector, that isn't going to have anything built into it. That's going to be higher fidelity because it's permanently mounted. I've used projectors like these before, and it's really nice to have the OS built into it because when you can pull it out of your laptop bag, you can pull it out of your backpack, whatever, and set it up in places where you don't have internet access, and you have movies locally stored on it. So you can just basically perfect example was a few years ago. I was backstage with my daughter at a dance competition or thing for her dance school, and one of the dads pulled out a little portable Android TV projector, and he was able to, because you got these little kids that are just getting super restless and can't be super loud because everything else that's going on. And he threw up a movie right there in this high school hallway, threw up a movie on the wall, and got all these kids like kind of settled down. And yeah, I mean, if you gotta, oh wait, hold on, you gotta get out this other dongle and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's not I mean, these have a use case, and it's portability. And when it comes to portability, sometimes all-in-one is best bang for the buck.
I think it's a pretty cool idea. I think it makes sense that they should have gone for the full Android. So I'm happy that they did that. Well, that's all right. So this next story, do you guys remember a story about teaching AI how to generate faces.
Yes.
And maybe even the story about the website called thispersondoesn'texist.com.
Yes.
Thispersondoesn'texist.com is a generation of faces using randomized pictures from an AI learning what hair looks like, what a face looks like, what a nose looks like, and all that, and generating pictures that look super realistic. I mean, there some of those are like obviously fake, but some of those are like that doesn't look fake at all.
Mm-hmm.
So a researcher took this and decided to feed it pictures from the Great British Bake Off and see what would happen if they did that with a couple of quote unquote random squirrels. And the pictures it generated were horrifying.
If you're not looking at this story, open it up now.
Open up the story,
Oh my God.
and you will see these pictures of absolutely mangled people, bread pieces, cake pieces, all mashed together in weird and strange ways. That absolutely. Nelson says, "So the pictures came out of Nailed It, right?" Not possibly. I would like to see what happens when you put Nailed It into the system, because these are freakish and horrible, and I want to see more of them, which is why I'm looking at more of these.
I honestly want to believe that this is a real story. The fact that it came out on the 30th, lets me believe that this is not a prank. This is actually the pictures that were generated by this computer.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it actually does make a little bit of sense if you look at these pictures. If you don't feed enough base information into an algorithm like this, then it starts to work with what it has. And because of the breads and the skin tones and the hair colors and the environment, it actually makes a lot of sense that these things would be hard to distinguish for an AI that doesn't have a large enough data set to know that that person and the skin tones and colors associated with that person are separate from the breads and the other baking stuff that is similar in tone and color. And the environments are all fairly vanilla. The only things that don't get mixed into a little bit is the green grass background, which makes sense. It's the one real color that differentiates itself. So
the best thing is you can try this yourself. It says you can try it yourself using cat pictures and AI training software like Runway ML, as long as you're prepared to transform Mrs. Mittens into something out of Pet Sematary. But
yeah,
this is, oh my God.
I don't know.
Oh wow! I did look at those. Those are not good.
I don't know. It looks like the Muffets to me.
I'm gonna have to play with this because there is so much potential for hilarity.
Well, go to, if you're just curious, go to thispersondoesnotexist.com and just refresh the page a couple times and get some random pictures and realize, oh my god.
Wait, when you refresh, you get different pictures?
Go to thispersondoesnotexist.com.
Oh, I thought you meant on the, I wanted more
No.
of the crazy.
It's amazing how good that one is. And then
but the thing is, you'll find with that it still does get some fails, because people show up that have things that make it very difficult for the AI. The AI hasn't had enough training with those particular elements to be able to get them correct. And so there are some pretty noticeable flaws that look really awful sometimes. But as a general rule, you're right. Like, they're mostly good. And it's probably better now than when it first came out. I remember when it first came out, looking at it, probably about 1 in 10, there was something noticeable that cued you in. Like, their 2 front teeth didn't break, or something like that was just clearly wrong. But
well, I'm pretty sure if you punch them hard enough, they will break.
Yeah, but the algorithm is really good, and it works very nicely.
Okay. It's the half a face. I'm looking at a picture here. I got to show you guys this one.
All right.
If I can get to. Oh, I got to move this out of the way. Okay, here we go. So this one is great until you realize that that's like that other face that it tried to fill in is like weirdly proportioned. It's like only part of a face.
This
Exactly.
is Jessica. It's sitting next to her friend, Charisse.
You mean Chunk?
Junk.
I mean, but yeah, that's exactly you occasionally would see what was happening to the lady on the side with the main focus of the image. But again, I think that the algorithm continues to learn as more data is added to it, and so it's getting better.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything that wasn't really good.
All right, we should probably move along. Hey, so Sling TV is working on getting more television for more people out there. They've integrated their Free Stay and Sling Connect onto the Amazon TV platform. That means that you can get more of the free stuff onto the Amazon TV, available to you now. There's some free stuff on there. It's like there's a lot of free channels, like especially the news stuff they've been pushing out recently.
Yeah, so like last week we talked about the fact that Sling was giving people free access to news. I included this story because I wasn't sure if it was available on the Fire TV last week or not, but if not, it is now.
Excellent.
So if you are a Fire user and you wanted that free you wanted free access to all the fear mongering that's going on out there in the world, you're in luck.
Available to you now.
Free.
Excellent. All right, YouTube TV subscribers got an email earlier this week, basically saying, "Hey, we're giving you a free month of Epics. No worries. It's all set. You get the free month of Epics starting and it will go all the way through April 25th. And when it's done, when you get to the end of your month, it's going to go ahead and turn off on its own. You can leave it. You can request to keep it on, of course.
Let me just say, if you're a YouTube TV subscriber, take advantage of this and binge. There's two things you need to binge. Get Shorty, because I didn't get to finish the last season of Get Shorty, or the most recent one, because I shut off Epics before, like a week or two before it ended. And then also Pennyworth. Pennyworth is the backstory of Batman's butler. Yep. And it's actually pretty fun. I'm not really a DC guy. I'm not really a comic guy, but Pennyworth was kind of cool. So
yeah, he's supposed to be a fairly interesting character. He's supposed to have a pretty deep background, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
especially since
gives you a whole new perspective on Batman's dad.
Okay. All right. I'll be interested in reading about that. All right. Streaming services are going to be doing their part to provide to reduce the traffic on the internet, and many streaming services are now adopting a new policy where they are limiting users to a single album's listening to every 24 hours. This will help the internet with its various internet bandwidth issues, and we hope that this will be helpful for everybody in the future.
Yeah. So according to this article, users of Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Deezer, and more will need to submit their requested album in writing ahead of time.
Oh, nice.
So, like, you're going to have to tell them today, tomorrow, I want to listen to this.
That makes sense. I have no problem with this.
Really?
Yeah.
How can you not have any problem with this? You pay for a service.
I think this is a good move to improve internet bandwidth concerns that we all have. And if we don't enact something like this, then how am I going to be able to get my cat pictures and videos quickly and effectively? So I will sacrifice your music to be able to watch my cat
So-
videos. This is a good move.
Correction. Correction. I thought it was 24. It's 12 hours ahead of time at least.
Oh.
They did point out the emails about the restrictions started circulating from Tidal last week, but nobody seemed to notice.
I am completely in with the Global Institute of Media Platforms and Professor April Fool with this recommendation and action.
You guys are terrible people. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think bandwidth limitations is all a scam, right? Anyway, right, and I think this just feeds to the scam.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is to help those guys keep their profits up. I think it's just a scam.
Professor April Fool can go ahead and just shove it as we move on to the next story.
Hey, DirecTV is working with the Dodgers Sportsnet LA, Sportsnet LA, and they are basically setting it up so that if you were watching your LA Dodgers locally through your AT&T and DirecTV software, you're no longer going to have any blackouts. That's right. If you can now watch your local game locally on your local system, I mean, goodness sakes, this is something that I think everybody should be doing everywhere. But no, we have to let AT&T get the start on this, and for LA, which I'm sure about 50% of you hate. So that's fine. I just hope this catches up with everybody else and becomes a thing that
I want to know how much did it cost AT&T to be able to stream a season that isn't happening? At first glance, you say, finally, AT&T TV has something that people want, that people would subscribe for, except there is no baseball right now.
Yeah, I wonder how that ends up working out for them.
They probably paid a bunch of money to get 6 months, and then they were not going to have any baseball until like September.
Yeah, well, and
I'm sorry,
if they pay by season, how does the season work out? I don't know. And would you have the foresight to have in your contract, assuming a minimum of 160 games occurs or something like that, right? Because, I mean,
that's lawyers for you. They know they think of every possibility.
They do. And there was a strike 5 or 6 years ago or something like that, where some games didn't occur, or there was a threat of games not happening. So they probably did think about this kind of thing. Maybe more in the expectation of strike rather than pandemic shutting the whole season down. But they probably did think about the possibility that they should get a certain number of games with their exclusive contract, or maybe they pay per game, but they have exclusive rights to all games and have to pay for every game that occurs or something.
Yeah, whatever the case is, this is the thing I want to catch on like wildfire. I want all the various platforms and the various agencies and the various sports organizations to look at this and go, oh yeah, people want to watch this. It's fine. It's not like people won't go to the park if they want to go to the park and watch a game, guys. It's not just about watching the game.
No, I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Nobody wants to go to the park and watch it now. So now they're willing to stream it.
Maybe. Maybe that's the but nobody's going to watch anything because
there are no games
to watch. So yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Good news if you're in LA. They did mention that they got the rights to stream most of the more popular teams. So they didn't specifically say which games, but and it's apparently not all the games, but some of the more popular ones. So
nobody wants to stream the Montreal Expos, huh?
Well, they can't. You haven't been able to stream the Montreal Expos for at least 10 years.
I I used to love the Montreal Expos. They had some
you
great
don't like the
players.
Washington Nationals?
Yeah, I honestly, I haven't paid attention to baseball since the Montreal Expos.
They moved Montreal to Washington, and in protest, Mike boycotted baseball altogether.
It's all over. It's
Hey,
done with.
way to stick to your guns.
The Braves picked up a few players from the Expos. That's what turned me on to them back in the day when I was a big Braves fan. So
Yeah.
Hey, Google Podcast says the Google's attempt to go entered into the podcast ring. They came out with an app a couple years ago, I think, and I started using it. It was okay. It had some flaws in it, and they just released a new version of the Google Podcast app with a bunch of different new features in it, including the ability to easily download and organize your app. It's actually got a queue now. Thank goodness. It's been revamped in the layout, so it's a little easier to see the various podcasts in your list. I gotta say, it's a pretty nice little way to get your videos. It's always been a competition between between podcasts and Google Podcasts for me. So I'm hoping that I'm going to give it a shot, see what it looks like.
See, I was interested in Google Podcasts, but the problem is I have a podcast app that I got on my first phone, and I've been listening to my first smartphone back in 2011. So I've been using it this whole time. So it knows what episodes I've watched or listened to, and I like it. And I've tried other apps, and then I just keep going back to this old, outdated, not updated kind of thing.
But one day will not work anymore.
Well, I mean, they're still updating it to make it work, but they're not adding features or changing anything. But that's kind of what I like about it. It doesn't change.
That's fine.
But yeah, I mean, the problem is you get a show that's been a podcast that you like that's been going for 7 years. You switch to a new app, and then it's like, hey, you've got like 1,000 listened to, and it's like, no, just mark them all as,
some of them you can do that. You can mark them all as.
But the problem is there are some where you don't listen to all of them in order. There are several in the past that you haven't, so you can't just say mark it all. So I feel trapped. I'm kind of being held hostage. What's that syndrome? Nightingale syndrome, where you fall in love with your captor.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm. I was thinking of Florence Nightingale. Yes, not Florence Henderson. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. Maybe Google, maybe their podcast app will someday be good enough to free me.
Stockholm syndrome and Nightingale effect are similar. The Nightingale effect is a trope where a caregiver develops romantic feelings for their patient. So it's for the caregiver to the patient, not it's the other way around. So,
what is it called when the captor is in love with the captive? Which is probably why the person is a captive in the first place.
That's just generally kidnapping.
I believe that's Stockholm syndrome.
Well, Stockholm's the other way.
No, Stockholm, that's reverse.
When you're in love with your captor.
And associates with.
I'm saying you were in love with someone, so you took them captive because you're obsessed with them.
That's just obsessive order. Just being obsessed.
All right.
That's just being psycho.
Yeah.
Jonathan Colton wrote a whole song about it, but yes.
I'm sure he did. He writes lots of songs.
Look up Skull Crusher Island.
It's a good song. Hey, Home Depot has the Nest Hub Max, which is the Google Nest Hub device with the big screen. The one that they first announced with an initial price of $230, and it's now available for a really cheap price, $179. So if you've been waiting for a good deal on getting one of those big screen smart displays, this one might be good for you. That's it.
Yeah. Good deal.
All right,
It's still. I was just gonna say. I think it's still a little too expensive for me.
179 is still a little rich for your
Yeah,
blood.
I think 150, above 150 is kind of the.
They have the smaller one too, and
Yeah, but I don't want
with
the smaller one. I want a decent sized screen. But yeah,
How big is the screen on this one?
I believe that's a 10-inch screen on that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
think of like a 10-inch
Good size.
tablet that,
10-inch screen. Okay.
which I mean,
The only-
sitting on your counter is great. My 8-inch tablet is pretty good for.
This is the
that.
one with the ability for you to pause the music by putting your hand up. And then
Stop.
pause for you.
The only issue I have with these, I think, yeah, the price is a little high, but I mean, a tablet right now, a decent 10-inch tablet sits at 150 minimum. So it's hard to think that you're going to get a speaker and stuff like that and get it cheaper than that.
Oh,
I
But
guarantee you,
I-
those tablets that you buy with a decent, halfway decent like Samsung tablet has a better processor than what they put in these things. They put the cheapest processor they can.
Well,
in these
Oh yeah.
yes, but the processor, the tablets that you get for 150 are pretty mediocre tablets. Like I've had to, even for my daughter, I've had to upgrade to the next tier because the performance is not good enough. But that aside, the other thing, the concern I really have with these is that I don't want to sacrifice audio fidelity for that, and I'm afraid that compare that to just the speaker versions
Right.
or the Alexa with that's never mind that focuses on the speaker. That's going to have better audio quality than this video one, and I would want both. I don't think I'd be willing to sacrifice the audio quality. Now I could be wrong. That's just a suspicion because I haven't used this one, but all of the Amazon-based ones are like that.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I don't know how good the quality is, but I think that they've tried as best they can to make the quality of this big one in particular a decent quality speaker as well. But
Okay.
I haven't tested it, so I wouldn't know. Hey, Plex has this cool feature you can get if you pay for Plex Pass, where you can stream live TV to your other TVs if you have some type of way of receiving it throughout your house. If you put a receiver and hook it up to your Plex Pass server right now, they're letting you do that streaming throughout your house to any Plex-enabled device for free. This is part of their ways of trying to make it so you can do these without get more of your good TV viewing during this time of weirdness.
The only catch with this is that you have to have a receiver that's
Right.
able to. So it's not while on the surface it feels like they're being benevolent just like everybody else, except you can do this for free if you go out and you buy a thing that you may not necessarily want, and then they're banking on the fact that now that you got it, I already spent the money. I may as well on the thing. I may as well keep using it, right?
Right.
But hey, for those of you that already have a receiver, or something that's capable of picking it up, then good on you, and get your free TV.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The Amazon Echo devices and its digital assistant now have the ability to give you information of what to do. If you think you have this, what is this? COVID-19. What's COVID-19?
Isn't that where people like play video games together on stream? Cooperative.
Co-video. Oh, co-video. Cooperative video. Oh,
Yeah, but that
cooperative
was
video game.
last year.
Yeah, it's old technology now.
Okay. Well, it says that
The Co-Video 20 is way better.
Oh, but it says if you ask about your Co-Video 19 thing, 19, or I don't know, it will be able to ask you certain questions about how you're feeling and what risk factors you might have. What would you have risk factors for getting Co-Video? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Anyways, it's apparently able to help you out if you think you have maybe this old codec that needs to be updated. I don't
Okay.
This makes no sense to me. Hey, LG TVs. I know. Hey, Jimmy, did you get this? There's a new Movies app anywhere. And the Movies Anywhere app has been installed for many LG TVs. This is the platform that allows the sharing of your digital media between the various different kinds, and it has their own digital locker built right into it. So if you buy it on Amazon, you can also play it on your Apple and on
Yeah, it integrates
Vudu
with
also.
Voodoo and
Yep.
what was Ultraviolet, and
Mhm.
but yeah, this was Disney's buy our stuff before Disney Plus.
Yeah, I haven't tried this yet, but it's something I should give a try though. I mean, I don't. I mean, I try to keep everything in just one ecosystem, but having something like this will give you
Well,
the.
that's the beauty of Movies Anywhere is that they try to be platform agnostic
Right.
and ecosystem agnostic. So if you buy, I believe if you buy stuff, let's say you bought a Disney movie, it will show up in your iTunes library and vice versa.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. With Movies Anywhere, it is actually really convenient. I can buy my movie on Amazon if that's where I bought it. If I buy a digital disc and or a physical disc that comes with a digital copy through Disney, I can then set that up,
Mhm.
and then it becomes part of the account. And then I can view it from all of the different places in my Amazon account, in my Disney account, and stuff. And so it makes it really easy. And one of the nice things is you can take advantage of deals this way, right? Like if you find a deal on Google Play, you can buy your movie there and still view it in all of the other ecosystems or whatever ecosystem you happen to be using. And so you can shop around for bargains, you can take advantage of gift cards, whatever kind of deal you get. Somebody gives you a Google Play gift card and you usually use Amazon, just buy a movie. Shows up through
Yeah.
your Movie Anywhere account, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's a good utility, no doubt about it. I mean, yeah, they don't have um, all the movie makers on there yet. I mean, like Lionsgate is one of them.
Still holding out, Lionsgate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's not all the studios are there yet, but most of them are. Most of the good ones are.
It's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Star Wars, Disney, and Harry Potter is all on there. So pretty much that's the only thing that matters to my family.
Okay, fine. Games Done Quick, those awesome guys who provide awesome video games experience on the internet, is doing another charity event. This charity event will be starting on April. What is the date to say on here? It was going to be
17th and 19th.
13th and 19th, where they'll be streaming live video games being played by awesome players and showing off their cool things for charities. And I hope that everybody out there can go out there and check it out. So, they'll be showing it on their Games Done Quick Twitch channel, and go check it out later this month.
All right, rock on.
All right, Roku is doing this thing where they're providing 30 days of all kinds of premium video. They are headed out and providing 30 days of trials on the Roku channel with a bunch of different things like Epic, Showtime, Hallmark, and they're going to be doing a bunch of different this for a whole month. It's a pretty cool for them. Did we talk about this last week? I can't remember.
No, we talked about other people that were giving away. Yeah, so they've got a whole bunch of workout stuff. So if you're at home, you should be working on your body. That's what they're saying. So, yeah, I mean, free stuff. I'm always, I don't care what the situation is. Free stuff is free stuff. I'm in.
Yeah, and this is the kind of stuff that if you felt like a homebody, this is perfect for you. This is good stuff for everybody.
Sure.
The Smithsonian channel's on there too. Ooh, that's actually that's my channel.
Yep. So if you didn't know, those of you that have a Roku, they actually have a menu that most people don't notice. It's featured free. So that's where you'll find this stuff. On the left-hand side from home, just go down until you get to featured free, and then you can go through the list and see what what there is that you might be interested in.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Netflix has some information. It looks like Netflix is working with various different production companies out there to bring back a live action version of the video game Dragon's Lair, and they're going to be they're working to get Ryan Reynolds to play as what is his name, Dirk the Daring.
I could kind of see him. I could see him doing that.
Dirk the Daring had a certain kind of attitude in everything he did.
Yeah,
So Reynolds could pull that off. I think he's got a little bit of that attitude. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
This was and to answer Drew's question, this story's from the 27th, so no, this does not appear to be a joke, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this seems awesome to me. I was a big fan of the Dragon's Lair games, and
What about the
so
cartoon?
far, what?
What about the cartoon in the 80s?
I didn't see very much of it.
I only saw a couple episodes myself, and I
Yeah.
kind of remember liking it, but
Yeah, I can't remember for sure, but I do remember playing the games and liked them a lot. But I gotta say that I'm also lately just a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds and everything he does. So I'm kind of thinking this could be totally awesome.
word.
yeah, but my only question is it going to be interactive, and can I make him turn left when he should go right and fall into the pit and die horribly?
Yeah.
It's a back 5 seconds.
And reminder, this isn't actual. We're going into production. This was Netflix now owns the rights, so there might be a thing.
There likely will be. The question is, will they get all the people they want involved?
Exactly. I mean, whether or not it'll actually happen. This is Dragon's Lair we're talking about. I think the only thing harder to produce than a Dragon's Lair anything was Duke Nukem Forever, and that did finally come out.
So it only took like 20 years.
Exactly,
and
that's my
not
point.
Good, right?
So, or a good Dune.
Oh, did you like Duke Nukem Forever?
I never played it. I just remember the running joke of it'll be out.
It was critically
next year.
panned.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never played it, so I don't know.
I never played it. I happened to watch somebody go like, "Hey, I've never played this." There was like a little mini playthrough, and it was like its greatest hits. It's got the crude humor from Duke Nukem 3D in it, and actually, it's got some good. I wouldn't call it good, but it does the Duke Nukem thing right.
Right.
It's totally Duke Nukem.
Okay.
Hey, Facebook is working on getting new features and new abilities for their live streaming software. They're finding that there's a lot of demand right now for their live video solutions, and they've set up ways for you to be able to use some of their new things like their video screen calling and other features without having to have Facebook accounts necessarily. And you are able to use different platforms, like you can now do video calls on looks like they're providing an ability to do live streams through a mobile device, something that you normally would only be able to do on the desktop. This is them responding to a huge amount of increase of use, and so more power to them for this. I'm not personally a Facebook user anymore, but the fact that it looks like some of these are available to you without the Facebook account is good on them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised it took this long because they've been trying to get people to use Facebook for video-based stuff for a long time. But yeah, capitalize on the need, and
well,
yeah. I mean, we've had video chat and Discord for at least 2 years,
a year and maybe longer.
Yeah.
Longer.
So, yeah, the fact that Facebook hasn't had it up to this point is surprising. So, yeah.
Very cool. Hey, so it looks like the Golden Globes people, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, has made the decision to make it so you can, for this year, you wouldn't have to have your show, your movie shown in a theater.
Hmm.
This means a lot of streaming movies that were for this year will be able to be submitted for the Golden Globe considerations, and I wonder how
I,
a certain director, producer feels about that, who made various
well, I think
mistakes about
that
this.
Robert Downey Jr. is sorely disappointed. He was a shoe-in for Doctor Dolittle since it was like the only movie that came out this year.
Wow.
Like, I'm gonna get it. Nobody else is gonna compete with me.
I thought you were going to say it was all the voice actors in Playmobil. But-
Or yes. Doctor Dolittle was the only movie I could remember that came out. So.
Does this mean that that new Trolls movie is still in the running then?
So far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is because it's yeah. I guess so. Okay. I mean, yeah, you can't give awards for movies that weren't in the theater if there's no movies in the theater,
Yeah.
or were in the theater if are no movies in the theater. So this is a no-brainer. If you want your award show to happen, you got to make changes. Yeah. You got to adapt. So.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Yay them.
This is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. We're going to see a bunch of changes. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
I mean, the thing that I would ask is, do we really need to have a Golden Globes? Can't we go a year without those award shows
You probably
of
can.
the people in the industry saying "Yay us" and giving each other awards?
Well,
I don't care.
they can do it. They can do it online. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I
at this
mean,
point.
Go
That's
back
fine.
to being a private event like it was in the beginning.
Yeah, which
I don't-
poses
I
the
don't
question, how are they going to do the Golden Globes if they don't want to be
Well,
in
I mean,
public
when do they
gatherings?
usually happen?
people accept their awards via satellite all the time. I mean,
Or
no
recording.
different. Or pre-recorded. Yeah,
Right.
no different.
Hi, my name is insert name here, and I'm so happy to accept the reward for insert award here. Thank you very much. Thank you to the Academy and all of you. I love you. I
Exactly.
couldn't be here. I'm sorry. I mean, pretty much what's what I was like. So, so Fox Sports had such a good time with that NASCAR event. The one where they did eNASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do it. Actually, it looks like from the date they have done this again with NFL 20 Madden football. What do you think? Is that gonna work for everybody?
I mean,
Yeah, I wonder, did
people
this
already
work?
watch it. People already
I don't
watch
know.
this. I don't find it as compelling though, because like I was saying, most pro drivers already have actual simulators that are laid out and essentially the exact same thing that they're driving on the track. So, it's performance. Football players pushing buttons isn't the same,
As
I mean,
being in a
yes, they
realistic
understand
car
that
seat.
what they're trying to do, but the physical aspect isn't, and dexterity isn't the same for me. I don't find it as compelling. So, I'm not surprised they're doing it. It makes perfect sense.
Okay. All right, and our last story of today is that Trivia, that cool trivia show that kind of showed up and got super popular, and then suddenly disappeared because basically they ran out of money and an investment deal fell through, is suddenly back. They've let everybody know that they've got some type of new investor to provide the money fronted for them to continue putting up the show, and so you can go and watch HQ Trivia again and participate in the fun.
Am I the only one that has never heard of this?
I've heard of it. I've never played it. Apparently, it's like a trivia game. I think you can even play it live. And so at the time it's happening, everybody participates in the trivia kind of thing, and so that's why it costs money, is because it actually
Is this
requires
like the stuff that you play at
Bars.
TGI Fridays
Yeah.
back in the 90s?
I don't know.
Well, I wonder if this is what my friend Haley was talking about. She normally does trivia like every week. There was like a trivia thing, then it travels around to different, and they have tournaments, and you have to win so many points to make it into the tournament, blah blah blah. And she was saying that they're still doing it now via Twitch, and I was wondering how that was working, and I wonder if they're doing something like this. But yeah, I've never heard of this. Good for them.
Well, maybe you'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
You got something to do. Go get the HQ trivia and try it out.
I got plenty to do.
Fun. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got questions for you after.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, with that done, this is the point in the show where we say, yes, the story about the music was a joke. If you didn't get it.
Yeah. I would be vehemently against it otherwise.
April Fools. We're terrible.
I'm sorry. We had to put one in. Nothing else was supposed to be a joke. Everything else was legit.
But I seriously, that Bake Off one, if it didn't come out 2 days before, I never would have believed it. But yes, Professor April Fools. Yes, April Fools. But
I mean, I can't believe any you guys didn't get
these
April
are the kind of
Fools.
things that we do we have to kind of mix it up. We got to throw a couple curveballs because we got to keep the patrons happy, because the patrons are the reason we do this show. They're the reasons we continue to do this show, because they support us on patreon.com. And we appreciate you guys. And we're glad to have you around. If you're not currently a patron and you like what we do, or you dislike what we do enough that you're willing to pay us money to listen, or more prioritize your not like of us, become a patron. That's patreon.com/the.
I'll make you a deal. If you don't like us, when you become a patron, let us know, and I'll apologize to you at the end of every show.
In
and
person?
that's what you get out of being a patron.
We can set up a tier. If someone's actually interested in that, let us know. We'll set up a tier.
That's right.
The apology tier.
Yeah.
The apology tier.
I like it. I think it's an excellent idea.
No, Drew, it wasn't an original joke. It was one that I came across and I read it and I went, oh, okay. Yeah. So since we don't have any movie draft, we do have movie party on the 18th, but that's a different thing. No new movie draft. Let's go ahead and just head on over to the rants and the raves. Alrighty, who has something they would like to either rant or rave or both?
Just want to say that I've been super busy, and I wish I had time to watch TV, but I really haven't. I mean, I really haven't. But I do find myself sitting down and just relaxing between times and not feeling like I want to do anything. And I found a game on my phone that has filled those times where I just need to not think about anything for a little while. And the game is called Hoedown.
Hoedown? Like, this is a hoedown. Grab your partner. Do-si-do.
Hoedown.
Oh.
It's HOLE down.
Oh.
And it's a game where you're basically breaking it. It's like Breakout, where you're breaking blocks, but as you are breaking blocks, you're going deeper down into whether first it's an asteroid, then a moon, then a planet, and it doesn't take any brain power. It's just fun, it's a good time wasted. Let me just put it that
Okay.
way.
All right.
Well, rock on.
Well, I haven't had a lot of time, but I am keeping up with Clone Wars. The new season is being released each week on Disney Plus. And if you liked Clone Wars before, this is everything that it used to be. It's absolutely outstanding. I am loving every second of it. And getting to have Ahsoka back in the game is great. One of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars and Rebels shows. So, yeah, that's what I've been watching. Um, and I did finish How I Met Your Mother, and
I
I
have to
did.
know.
And what'd you think of the final episode?
I understand everybody's opinion because it was a great show, and the ending was a little ridiculous and silly. And why did you do that? But it didn't ruin it or anything. It just, I was like, okay, that seems kind of dumb. I was a little bit annoyed, but not in a serious way. It didn't make it to where I couldn't.
It probably okay. So there's a questions in the chat of whether or not we're going to spoil anything. I haven't seen it, so I can't spoil a thing. I can say that I'm sure at the time people were all caught up because it was like a big deal that there were 10 endings to the show, and they ended it with whatever this twist is. And then there are people who felt poorly about the decisions that were made, and there was a heat of the moment kind of thing going on there. That being said, I'm sure now this is the show, it's over. Oh, they did this weird thing, and I'm sure it's much less impactful.
At the time, I didn't hate the ending, but I did have the feeling of, seriously, did you have to do it like that?
And that's
either way, I mean, it works, but still, there was one thing that they did that was just like, okay, this now feels disingenuous because of things they did earlier in the series. And it was like, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we could bring this up to modern things and discuss how Picard ended and how that changed things. So.
I haven't seen it.
Well, I haven't seen that yet, so that's on my binge list for
based on my the Reader's Digest version I've been getting from Tom and Brian. It sounds like a show that I would not have enjoyed had I sat down and watched it.
Not saying a thing. No, not. Well, I would be happy to discuss this, not during a show, or maybe like a month or two after people have had plenty of time to watch.
Yeah.
We'll talk it. We'll talk about the first season of Picard. The next time we do a show on April 1st. That'll be what, 6 years.
I see how you. I see that you said you like it. I actually liked it too, but I again could see there are people who are upset.
Why settle for 7? Don't you want like 9 out of 9?
That'd be nice, but that's aiming high. They say just aim for 7 out of 9.
Yeah. Okay. Jimmy?
All right. So I did see the end of Picard. I watched the complete first season, watched it, really enjoyed it. I don't quite understand. Well, okay. If you're not a Star Trek fan, then I could see why you wouldn't like it, right? But that begs the question, why would you watch a Star Trek show if you're not a Star Trek fan?
Well, especially one that's completely built on nostalgia.
Yes, right. There's a lot of that in there, right? So this is a show for Star Trek fans.
But then again, I did enjoy Solo, which was completely about nostalgia, yet I am not a Star Wars fan. So.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you, but I also kind of feel like the way they did that movie, it
was good
works
standalone.
It was totally independent of everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree. I'm a Star Wars fan too. Of course, I mean, I was probably going to like it even if it wasn't all that great, right? But I thought it was good. I thought it was a good standalone movie. I agree completely with what you're saying. So yeah, I did watch Picard, but what I wanted to rant about was Curiosity Stream. Maybe I'm late to this or whatever, but I just discovered that over the weekend, right? And if you haven't checked it
Oh,
out, I'll drop a link in the chat room here. I think they're running like a little bit of a sale if you go on their annual billing, right? So if you haven't checked this service out, it's got a lot of documentaries, is what it is, right? It's kind of like it puts all of them all in one place, right? And it's a good. The fidelity is really good on this service, right? And also, um, I'm enjoying it. They've got uh, a a documentary in there about Pompeii. That was the one I watched over the weekend. Very interesting. And if you really like documentaries, and I do, right, then you definitely want to check out this service here. And the annual subscriptions are not that much either. They got a regular HD subscription, which is not much money at all. I think it's maybe $12 for a year, right?
Yeah.
Or you can get the 4K, which is what I got, and you'll pay a bit more. I think it's about $41 or so for a year for the 4K version.
what?
I think they usually are $20 a year, and right now, it's Curiosity Stream is $12 a year. That's $1 a month, guys.
Yeah.
It's not that much, and
No.
this is made by the people who originally made the History Channel.
Mhm.
So that's the style, original History Channel style shows. Hey, the one I watch is how they build a castle, and I mean, for real, rebuild a castle. And yeah, sure, it was their history style show where it was really interesting, but I think it was like 2 hours long, so I actually started falling asleep to it.
So these are all about mysteries of the unknown, alien abductions, and
No,
You have
everybody
you-
knows the original History Channel
Go-
was just called History Channel because nobody wanted to watch the World War II channel. So they suckered you in by calling it History Channel. And then
if you go
watch
to
World War
the
II all day.
link there, and all you can go in there and browse all the ones that they got in there, and it's a lot of them. They got a lot, and they'll categorize them by science, history, different categories like that, right?
okay.
So yeah, I mean, and they got a free trial too now. I think you can do like a 7-day or so free trial. I forget what it is.
If you look at the bottom page, there's even a sneak peek where you can go in there and they've got some videos for you to watch what it's like.
Right.
So
All right.
But I mean, for $12, hard to beat.
Cool. Well, a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned that I had started watching Hunters with Al Pacino on Amazon. And I didn't know where I stood at first. And I gotta say, now that I have finished the season, they did some really cool stuff with that show.
good.
They took it in directions I didn't expect. They found a way to work in actual historical events into the storyline. And I gotta say, the depictions of the concentration camps were powerful.
Ah.
Not overly done. It was I'd say it was poignant. I recommend it. I didn't know if I was going to recommend it. And
I'm guessing it's not horrific.
no, but it does make a good point without hitting you over the head. Okay. Sometimes when people want to make a point, they beat you over the head with it so hard that you would never, come to where they want you to be. And I got to say, they did a good job of showing some of the atrocities through the eyes of survivors, but in a tasteful way that made you kind of empathize and kind of understand. And it was, and they found a way they would do these weird segues. Like, there was a game show that was so on the nose that came out of nowhere. It was silly as they were explaining, one of the characters says, well, why do they hate us so much? And then it cuts to this game show that I won't even go into because it ruins the whole thing, but I was laughing. I went from a completely serious thing and then I'm laughing super hard at this thing that out of context is so like unacceptable, but in context is absolutely hilarious. So the way, and they would do these like infographics and like stuff in at just random points in the story, and it works so good. Like, cutting to like a sixth grade film strip with the warbly music, and it's an experience, and I highly recommend everybody check out Killers. Okay. And I was skeptical about I was skeptical about Al Pacino playing an old Jew, but
so was this okay. Killers or Hunters?
Or I mean Hunters. Did I say Killers? I meant Hunters.
Oh, okay.
And listen to Killers.
Yeah, you can listen.
Oh, you watch Hunters.
The Killers. Yeah, the Hunters. I recommend it. It was very good, and I'm done with it just in time for Bosch to come back. So, final season of Bosch.
How many episodes in that Hunters?
10.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, the first couple, I mean, the pace, they throw you right into it. Like within the first 5 minutes, you know exactly what the story is.
What's the setting? What?
So it's in the 70s, mid 70s, and okay. There's a group of Jews that were Holocaust survivors that are hunting down the Nazi criminals that are currently living among us here in the U.S. And there was even because that happened, like I said, they used actual stuff like the program that got Werner von Braun over here, who was technically should have been executed with many of the other Nazi scientists, but we wanted him for the rocket propulsion stuff so that we could get, You
mean program Paperclip?
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it was when you get to the end and you put all the pieces together and then you realize, if you know history, you go, oh, wait, that actually happened. And then you're telling like alternate reasons for, why that happened that, that's actually plausible. So check it out, Hunters. Hunters on Amazon.
Cool.
All right.
But Wabbit, that season was in 76, but I don't know what the second season might be. 79. Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. I was going to, I'm tempted to say happy birthday to my April Fools that are 14 today, but they don't watch this show, so forget them. But you guys, thank you. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. All of you that took the time in your busy day to hang with us, we appreciate it. If you're watching this after the fact, we do this live every Wednesday night here on Twitch. Come join us. That's where all the fun happens. You get to shame me for the things that I say that sound even worse out of context.
There was some shaming today in the chat, just so you know.
It happens.
It's okay.
But
it's okay. We understand.
But yeah, you listening at home, you don't have, or watching it after the fact, you don't have any way to correct us or to yell at us, come join us live.
Yeah.
And then you also get to submit titles, which we're going to vote on here in a second in the after show. Everybody go over to tvs.showbot.tv. There's a couple there. Vote. And we'll do that in a second.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks. We will catch you all next week.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.